The Tokyo subway gas attack of March 20, 1995, was a shocking act of domestic terrorism carried out by the doomsday cult Aum Shinrikyo. Welcome to the Vault of Horrors, and let's dig deeper to one of Japan's most brutal acts from the year 1995. Using sarin, a lethal nerve agent, cult members targeted Tokyo's busy subway system during rush hour, killing 13 people and injuring thousands. This coordinated attack exposed the horrifying potential of chemical weapons and marked one of Japan's darkest modern tragedies. The Tokyo subway gas attack was a meticulously planned act of domestic terrorism carried out by the apocalyptic cult Aum Shinrikyo on March 20, 1995. The attack targeted the busy Tokyo subway system during morning rush hour, releasing sarin gas, a highly toxic nerve agent, on 5 train lines converging on the city's political and business centers. This horrific event killed 13 people, severely injured at least 50, and caused long-term harm to over 6,000 individuals, marking one of the darkest days in Japan's modern history. At 8 o'clock in the morning, during one of the busiest times for Tokyo subways, 5 cult members boarded trains on different lines, each carrying bags filled with liquid sarin wrapped in newspapers. Armed with sharpened umbrella tips, the perpetrators punctured the bags at key stations, allowing the sarin to vaporize into deadly fumes. Victims began collapsing in agony, displaying symptoms such as convulsions, foaming at the mouth, and blindness. Panicked passengers and subway workers evacuated trains, many of them unknowingly exposing themselves to the gas in their efforts to help. The toxic fumes spread rapidly through the underground network, choking hundreds and creating widespread confusion. Deaths: 13 people were killed almost instantly or succumbed to exposure soon after. Injuries: over 50 individuals suffered permanent neurological damage, blindness, or respiratory issues. Mass exposure: thousands of commuters experienced milder symptoms like nausea and temporary paralysis, many of which persisted for years. Emergency services struggled to respond effectively. Tokyo's emergency responders and hospitals, initially unaware of the nature of the attack, faced immense difficulties diagnosing and treating victims, compounding the tragedy. Aum Shinrikyo, or the Supreme Truth, was founded by Shoko Asahara, a self-proclaimed spiritual guru who claimed to be the reincarnation of Christ and Buddha. Combining elements of Hinduism, Buddhism, and apocalyptic Christianity, Asahara prophesied an imminent Armageddon, which he believed could only be survived by his followers. The cult attracted tens of thousands of members, including highly educated individuals such as scientists and engineers. Aum Shinrikyo developed a vast arsenal of weapons, including chemical and biological agents, and established facilities to produce sarin gas. Their ultimate goal was to instigate a global conflict that would annihilate non-believers and usher in a new world order led by Asahara. Motivation for the attack: Asahara believed Japan's government and society were obstacles to his vision of apocalypse and rebirth. The attack was intended to destabilize the nation and fulfill his prophecy. Investigations and arrests: the Japanese government quickly launched a nationwide manhunt for the perpetrators. Over the following weeks, law enforcement raided Aum Shinrikyo's compounds, discovering stockpiles of sarin, other chemicals, and biological agents. Hundreds of cult members were arrested, and Asahara was eventually captured in May 1995, hiding in a small room within the cult's compound. During the trial, Asahara and other high-ranking members were found guilty of planning and executing the attack. Shoko Asahara and 12 others were sentenced to death and executed in 2018. Victims' struggles: many survivors continued to face debilitating physical and psychological effects. The Japanese government faced criticism for providing insufficient support, with survivors often left to cope on their own. Rebranding of the cult: despite the crackdown, remnants of Aum Shinrikyo persisted under new names, such as Aleph and Hikari no Wa. These groups continue to operate under heavy surveillance by Japanese authorities. Global awareness of chemical terrorism. The attack highlighted the devastating potential of chemical weapons in civilian settings. It also prompted nations worldwide to tighten regulations on chemical materials and reevaluate domestic terrorism threats. Government oversight. Critics argue that Japanese authorities failed to act on earlier warnings about Aum Shinrikyo, including smaller chemical attacks and suspicious activities. Legal and ethical questions. The attack reignited debates on balancing religious freedoms with public safety, as Aum Shinrikyo exploited Japan's constitutional protections for religious groups. Trauma in Japanese society. The attack deeply scarred Japan, a nation known for its relative safety, challenging perceptions of domestic security. The Tokyo subway gas attack remains a chilling reminder of how extremism, when paired with scientific knowledge and apocalyptic ideologies, can lead to catastrophic outcomes. It stands as a pivotal moment in modern history, highlighting the dangers of unchecked fanaticism and the enduring impact of terrorism on both individual lives and society as a whole. This is The Vault of Horrors. Thank you for watching.